All right, welcome everybody. I am Jess Seabrook. I am the marketing director at BCM1. We're happy to have you today on the SIPTRUNK dealer webinar. Our leaders today are joined by Greg Garrett, the GM for 3CX North America. This is our first of a series of webinars, and today we'll cover all you need to know about the SIPTRUNK and 3CX partnership. A few small housekeeping items. You'll see at the bottom of your screen, there's a Q&A button. As we go along, feel free to put any questions that come up down there. We'll leave some time at the end of the session to answer those questions. Also, this webinar is being recorded and we'll send it out afterwards for you to review. And without further ado, I'm going to turn things over to BCM1 Director of Sales, Ben McLeodong.
Hey, folks, thanks for joining. Really excited about this opportunity. The partnership with 3CX has been longstanding, and we're really excited to have Greg, myself, and Mitch to present to you folks today. Okay, so I'll drive the slides. We do have a really tight agenda. A lot of time in the Q&A, so get ready, to unmute your mic and ask away. There is a chat room Jess will be monitoring, so feel free to throw some questions in there and we can address it during the Q&A. Okay, so let's go ahead and continue on. So number one, I wanted to kind of talk about BCM1 really quick, just to kind of set the tone. Several of you guys have kept up with us pretty tight, and several of you guys have done some great business with us, but really want to understand exactly what's happening. So I'll give you an overview as far as where we've been and where we're going. So in 1992, BCM was founded. And really, they were focused purely on the MSP community, basically a master reseller, and really wanted to get into voice. And so in 2019, they started taking a look at acquiring organizations. And one of the acquisitions, as you guys may know, is SIPTRUNK, SIPUS, and you'll see some older logos on top. In that same year, we actually acquired and launched simultaneously UCAS One, which is the old BroadSoft platform. We kind of keep that alive. We don't do a lot of marketing there. We keep that alive for our legacy partners that are in the enterprise space that have to have it for one reason or another, but there's not a lot of emphasis there. So we still call that BCM1. As you can also see in 2020, we also acquired Next Vortex, which one of the early partners with 3CX when 3CX launched in North America. And again, as you can see there, Next Vortex is now rebranded as BCM1. In 2021, we acquired both SkySwitch and CoreDial. Really, that's more of a different division, and both of them are now rebranded as SkySwitch. At the end of 2022, we acquired FlowRoute, which was really, really exciting because as you understand exactly which acquisitions we bring in, we also take some of their technology and we spread it across the other networks and brands. Most recently, we just made an announcement that we finalized our acquisition of Pure IP, which is more of a international play in the Teams and WebEx environment. Very, very large organization, very strong. And again, a little too early to understand exactly, how that will play in the e-commerce space, but the newest acquisition. More importantly, you'll see and hear about a lot more acquisitions and news from BCM1, and we're really excited about the growth opportunities within the industry. Okay. So this is a really busy slide, but just to touch on a couple things, and I'll kind of touch on two more important things, which is the dealer program. I wanted to, put this out there and show you exactly how we scale and where we focus in on. More importantly, SIP.US is a portion of our organization. That's more of a vending machine for IT managers to really come in and grab what they need and off the way they go. More importantly, you'll probably hear this in the next few months. We are creating a lead program for our dealers, because what we see for folks coming into SIP.US is they don't complete the journey because they need organizations like our dealers to complete that for them. So we will be taking some of those leads, and we actually take those leads and then find partners locally, and then we hand those leads off. But we will be looking at automating that process, similar to 3CX, where you find a dealer. We'll do the same thing with our dealer program underneath SIPTRUNK. Flow route, as you can see, let me back up. SIPTRUNK, as you can see, is our premier entry point into the dealer program. This will give you an opportunity, if you're a current SIPTRUNK dealer that has already signed the latest partner agreement, you have the ability to reach into other tools, case in point, and I'll talk about Flow Route and BCM1, where you can grab contracted terms and products and services and also be paid for those, which is great news for you guys. So again, SIPTRUNK is our entry point into the dealer program. Flow Route is a self-service organization, as you guys know. If you guys are looking for opportunities where you need APIs, and or we have large organizations who just buy or take ingredients like DIDs, minutes, and then package it into their own product and services. That's where Flow Route comes into play. BCM1, the legacy Next Vortex, has two different flavors. One is over-the-top SIP, and it's full service, meaning that whenever you provision a product and service in this category, we will actually assign a project manager for you guys. And then right below that, the managed SIP, which is really interesting. This is positioned more for the government, education, medical. And Mitch will kind of talk about the current status of PRIs today. This is a great opportunity if you have a institution that wants to keep it on premise and are looking for a fully managed solution, more visibility. This MSIP is the product to go. And then, of course, we mentioned Pure IP, again, very heavily focused on enterprise, large deployments, and again, focused on teams and web-based platforms, okay? More importantly, just as a FYI, I know several of you guys are probably saying, hey, are these slides available? The recording will be available, so feel free to re-listen to the recording with these same slides. But in this particular slide here, I want to really focus and make sure everybody understands, if you are a legacy BCM1 dealer, Flow Route dealer, and have not yet signed the SIPTRUNK agreement, please do so. There's no commitments, there's no strings attached. We just use that as an opportunity to say, hey, if you want to reach into the BCM1 portfolio or the Flow Route portfolio, and you have a opportunity where you need an SLA, a contract, hyper network, et cetera, they're available to you, and they're, again, fully commissionable. So that is exciting news. Okay, so one on the left-hand side, the partner program, again, comes through SIPTRUNK. We are really excited about this program. A lot of new features and functions we'll be releasing real soon. And then on the right-hand side, again, the BCM1 product portfolio, again, legacy Next Vortex is fully managed, and really an opportunity for you guys, if you haven't played around with it, if you don't know the functionality or the portfolio or the portals, feel free to reach out to Mitch's team and they'll get you going in the right direction, okay? All right, one product that we're really excited about that several of you guys have deployed on our Flow Route platform, but we're actually getting ready to launch it on our SIPTRUNK platform, is the Hyper Network. Okay, and I'll show you a couple slides and we'll kind of go over real quickly some use cases and some best practices. But more importantly, if you guys think about recent issues for redundancy, data center outages, et cetera, the Hyper Network, if you were to net it out, is almost similar to having two SIMs in your iPhone, and both SIMs are powered by either AT&T or Verizon. And if you need to flip the DID over, you can do that. Okay. So again, think about that as I'm going through these next couple of slides and use cases. So again, the Hyper Network is patented. This is the only offering in the market and dedicated to BCM1, where if you have a client that's very heavy and mission critical inbound, you'll want to take a look at this solution. We actually give you two underlying carriers in a DID. Okay, now we do have to qualify the DID to make sure that our underlying carriers are up to speed and like for like in specific areas. We have a good 90% ratio where all of our customers who have pre-qualified for the hyper network really get great news. It's the smaller markets that we struggle, where we may have one of the two underlying carriers in that market, but we will actually put it through a qualifier and let you know which DIDs are hyper network qualified. Now, hyper network, the questions are, what happens, right? If there's a disaster, a data center goes down, we have the ability to automatically flip the switch and take you from, underlying carrier 1 to underlying carrier 2 to keep your incoming calls running. Now, more importantly, we try not to automatically prematurely flip the switch, because there are opportunities where we found that just flipping the switch doesn't resolve your problem. Our support team will actually do some troubleshooting to make sure it isn't anything down the line, that even though we flipped the switch, that we didn't overlook anything. So we will do some initial troubleshooting, but we will be not only active, but proactive. If we feel like internally that we need to go ahead and flip the switch, we will do that. But in normal cases where you guys call in and saying, hey, we've had some issues, we'll do some troubleshooting. And then if need be, we will flip the switch, okay? Again, the secret sauce is in the how we flip the numbers from one DID to one underlying carrier to the next. More importantly, think about this. If you don't have the hyper network, what are your options, right? Your only option today is to port out to another carrier, right? Or provider. And that could take a ton of time. And quite honestly, what are your options, right? So again, I would definitely engage with Mitch's group to make sure that you guys fully understand the hyper network and its capabilities, okay? Now, hyper network enablement, okay? More importantly, the reason why we would enable it is data center outages. More importantly, we had an incident in Nashville, the Nashville bombing from the data center, and we were able to flip our customers over who had the hyper network, and without any issues, those customers were up and running. It could be just the underlying carrier media gateways going down, right? So again, think about any of your customers are very heavy on incoming call. Those are the customers that would actually benefit from this type of technology. And of course, local fiber cuts and natural disasters, right? Type of customers that you want to think about, okay? Call centers, very, very heavy inbound. These guys are coming to us all the time, asking about our hyper network technology, which is very exciting. Healthcare providers, again, these folks live by incoming calls and making sure that patients calling in are served properly. E-commerce businesses, again, e-commerce is basically driven from the web, and then inquiries are incoming. So very, very important sector of the business. Financial institutions and any organization, again, I emphasize this, incoming calls, the hyper network fits this model very, very well, okay? With that said, we can address some questions down the road, but really, hopefully, this kind of gets some ideas rolling. And the ultimate process is just to engage us as your sales organization to help you guys detail this to your customer and help you close your opportunities, okay? So now I want to go ahead and pass the buck to my counterpart, Mitch. Mitch, take it away.
Yeah, thanks, Ben. Really appreciate you going through that, and great to be here with everyone again today. So really quick, just wanted to flash this slide for you guys and reiterate what Ben had said. So a number of you have taken advantage of this, but really in January, we started promoting that through your SIPTRUNK partner agreement, which you all should have signed in the portal by now. You can get access to BCM1 and the SIP solutions over there. So really with this one relationship, multiple options, we have a number of partners that based on customer requirements or customer size will use the BCM1 SIP solution. Like Ben said, that comes with a project manager along with an engineer on the managed side as well. So based on the customer requirement, please feel free to come to myself, one of the 3 channel managers assigned to you guys, and we can get you taken care of. The other thing to know, as Jess said at the beginning, we're kicking off these quarterly trainings that will be held with Greg and the 3CX team. So we'll do a number of sales items within that, but also some technical trainings on the 3CX side. So really excited about that. Keep everyone engaged and up to speed on the 3CX and SIPTRUNK partnerships. So the other thing to note, after this, you'll receive a recap email from myself or one of the channel managers on our team that are assigned to you guys. And with that, please feel free to start going to them for questions, anything SIP related. So they have sales engineering levers that they can pull and loop in. We're starting to get a number of requests from partners to do a detailed training to their customer base. I've seen this for 10DLC as we have a number of successful SMS registrations on the 18.7, which we'll go into more detail with Greg, but also on E911 and Microsoft Teams. So it seems like there's a lot of movement in the market right now with everything that's going on from the legacy carriers and PRIs. So we actually had a partner in the Midwest, and I'll speak to this a little bit more, but we're happy to do a full detailed training to your customer base and really follow your lead. So again, feel free to tap us in. The team is fully trained on everything SIP trunking, whether that's in SIPTRUNK or BCM1, and we will follow your lead in terms of presenting to the customer or not. That also includes building custom slide decks for you and your sales team to present to customers. We understand everyone's relationship is a little bit different. So again, feel free to start looping us in. There's a number of tools out there. And with that, we can advance, Ben, and I'll go into some of the promotions we have. So one of the biggest trends we're seeing right now, and why we mentioned the managed SIP solution, is we're seeing a number of partners come to us saying, hey, I have XYZ customer that just had a PRI shut off or is about to get a PRI shut off. Specifically in the Midwest, I've seen this 3 times over the last month and a half. So what's happening is the carriers are decommissioning the traditional lines, right? We've been talking about this for years, but it really is happening now. Or we're seeing cost increase, seen it twice as much or 3 times as much in some markets. But the biggest thing to note here is this is a lever you guys can pull. Especially, I know we have a number of IA partners on here today that are looking into 3CX. This could be a great transition model for you guys. So what's happening with the partner I mentioned out in the Midwest, he had 3 or 4 local government customers that had their PRI shut off by the local carrier. Through the managed SIP solution, we can go in, stick an AdTran 908E in, keep that PRI card, and get them up and running very quickly with that. So the way the partners have positioned that is, hey, let's get them up on this PRI card. We'll use the old phone system in there, but over the next year, let's start planning on getting these guys off an Avaya, off of Mitel, onto a 3CX. So seen a lot of success with that. Again, this is a separate platform from SIPTRUNK, but if this does start coming up or you have a number of government, education, medical clients, please bring it to myself or my team's attention. We can loop in any sort of sales engineering resources as mentioned, and see if it makes sense. So I'd think of this as a quick lever to pull if you have some government clients, and just mention it, because if you want to advance, Ben, we do have a promotion going on with this as well for you guys. So Hyper Network fits into this as well. So on the MSIP side, it's unlimited minutes. It's unlimited minutes on the inbound side for MSIP. So it mimics a PRI. That's why it starts at 379. It comes with 23 channels. So unlimited minutes on the inbound side, which also makes it a really good fit for government, education, and medical, and also lines up perfectly with the Hyper Network. So as Ben mentioned, the Hyper Network is really for mission critical inbound voice. With these MSIP clients that are given their PRI shut off, you can go in and throw in Hyper Network as well, free of charge. So again, you get the DID level redundancy through the BCM1 MSIP solution. If you're not familiar with that, we can talk more later. Basically, every DID on that platform has 3 failover routes built in, and then Hyper Network gives you that carrier level failover. So rock solid solution as you work to migrate your customers off PRIs and off old phone systems into 3CX, and getting them up to speed on the latest gear. So you want to advance one more time, Ben? And then also with that, on the MSIP side, with everything we're seeing on the PRI side, we will do no rate plan billing until November 1st. So really hot lever to pull for you guys. Seen a number of partners implement this. But what this means is if you have PRI clients out there, start bringing this up. We won't bill them until November 1st. If they do need to use usage, we would charge them usage on that. But you can loop this in with the hyper network promotion for any sort of MSIP customer or potential customer. So again, if you start seeing that, please come to us. Really exciting as these PRIs are starting to come offline. So great for us and you guys. If you want to advance one more time, Ben. And then with that, we'll kick it over to Greg for the 3CX update.
Well, really appreciate BCM1, you guys having me on board. You guys have been a very strategic partner for quite a few years now. And so really happy to join you guys. Thanks so much. As many of you may know, and if you don't, happy to go through it with you, but we've just launched 3CX version 18, update 8. It launched last week. And then we rolled out a hot fix pretty quick on one little issue that popped up, but a lot of great functionality and features that have been rolled into update 8. I kind of wanted to give you a little overview just so you know what you can expect. One of the things that we did is with Office 365, really trying to simplify the configuration and enhance how the integration works. Again, overall, 3.6's mission statement is trying to make difficult things or very technical things very simple, streamlining them, making them easy and just work, something that's bulletproof. So we did simplify the Office 365 integration. We did enable it now where in MS 365, contact search and creation has also been simplified. You can even go in, you got a caller ID and you can look up in your 365 contacts directly from the 3.6 web client. It's a great new feature. Another big one, and we've had a lot of people ask for that, and it kind of makes sense. Now we've also integrated SharePoint. So if you want another methodology for employing backups and recordings, then you can basically use your existing SharePoint account, which so many people globally have. And so if you've set up your 365 integration, you'll need to go in, reconfigure the app after you upgrade. And we've got a nice guide on our website to walk you through it. It's really just a few steps and you can get that set up and then you can migrate your backups and recordings over to SharePoint. And we didn't take any away. We're just adding this as one extra option. You can still use, SFTP, you can use your Google Buckets or other locations. So again, trying to simplify things, make it easier for everybody. CRM integration for contact adding and searching. You'll see even going into version 20, which we're hoping to launch later this year. We're trying to improve all of our CRM integrations. Now, contacts with inbound calls via the web client. You can do the same thing as you can in Office 365. You'll be able to do that directly from your 3.6 web client, trying to make things as simple and easy to use as possible. So one of the other things that we've done, and if you've logged into 3.6 lately and you've got appropriate rights, you'll notice that we've changed our reporting window. You'll now see it in the web client. We have a portion now that we've renamed to the admin console versus the management console, which step by step, we're kind of migrating away from the traditional management console. And now it will ultimately, step by step, move over fully to what we call the admin console, which will be accessible directly from the 3.6 web client, which you've already got access to. So again, trying to simplify things. That way you don't have to run all over the place looking for where to find things or modify things. So you'll see that more and more, especially in update 20. Version 20, when that rolls out, I think there'll be another kind of migration next level of certain components. But this is really covering aspects of calls, chats, queues, ring groups, and individual agent performance, business insights, trying to make that more user-friendly and enhanced format, and going through some of the actual reporting logic, making sure that it meets the demands of today's busy call centers and things, which are really utilizing these on a daily basis. Me included, because I've got a team that I manage and I'm checking how many calls are missed. I want to be able to go back and look at key metrics to make sure everybody's performing optimally. So trying to streamline that, improve the features and functionality. At the moment, it's just raw data, but you'll see as we come in to our next version, we will improve the graphical look of those so that you'll have much more savvy, beautiful looking graphs and data charts to be able to emphasize key performance indicators. So part of the other thing we've done, and we've mentioned that there's been some incremental updates through update 6 and 7 and now into 8, simplifying IP phone provisioning and the management, trying to take that to the next step. I think it was update 6. We overhauled the RPS provisioning server, which really became the primary method of phone provisioning for cloud, including our 3CX free, which at the time we called startup, as well as into our SMB instances. So update 8 really expands this, trying to enable you to fully utilize the RPS, even now for on-premise, not just cloud-based installation. So again, really nice step forward, trying to make things easier for you. We've also added a new dashboard page in the admin console. It will have kind of your license information, what partners link to the key, who the owner email is, what version they're on, and as well as kind of base level configuration menus going into user configuration. You can set up your office hours, holiday times, break times, and then some call handling features, which are call queue modifications and setup, as well as IVR and ring group configuration. So a lot of great features been migrated now fully into the admin console. And as I said, that's going to continue until ultimately we see everything migrate that way. So again, part of the things that we've done with the desktop app, which you'll see now is going to include TAPI support. So anybody kind of using what I kind of call that maybe legacy technology, if you need that, then you'll find that now in the desktop app. So trying to, again, push simplicity and effectiveness with 3CX, making sure everybody can get the most out of their 3CX. One last comment here on this slide. Notice that we have added the Yealink T4 series phones as router phones. If you go to our website, you look on 3CX supported SIP phones, you'll notice we've got a pretty significant list now of phones we're calling router phones because they have in their firmware embedded the 3CX SBC software. So one phone can now be used as a router or SBC. And then ultimately you can provision about 10 other devices. So if you've got a smaller cloud install and even maybe a medium-sized cloud install, you don't want to install a separate SBC, use some of these supported router phones and then provision your standard SIP phones right behind those. So again, fantastic step forward for 3CX. And last comment here, we did go in and rewrite the 3CX shopping cart. So if you go to make a purchase through your 3CX portal, you'll notice now you can make multiple purchases. You've got a shopping cart. You can go in, modify, edit things that you put in the shopping cart, but you can make multiple purchases in one fell swoop. Whereas when we were making some changes previously, you had to do one by one. So tried to make that as easy as possible. So, Ben, next slide there, my friend. Did want to dive in a little bit, talk to you about 3CX and the BCM1 partnership. Now, we've been partners with these guys for almost 5 years now, and they are considered, certainly by me and the rest of my team, one of the key solutions providers in North America, and they're helping us expand our partner base and promote the channel with things like we're on today with this webinar. We're already discussing joint marketing possibilities, additional webinars that we had talked about earlier, and potentially doing some trade shows / road shows together, really to go out there and promote 3CX, promote the BCM1 products, because both of us have a lot to bring to the table and can provide a lot of value for our partner base. So partly what we ask of all of our solutions providers, help us with sales and technical training, go out there and talk about the key points of 3CX, and teach people how to use it. And so it's not that they're going to be talking to your end user, but they're going to help, and by say they're, BCM1, along with me and the 3CX team, helping to train and equip partners to get the most out of their partnership, both with us and BCM1. So if you look, and we do have a page, and we can share a link if you guys like, maybe we'll do it a bit later, of the supported 3CX SIP trunks. And we've got one specifically designated for the US, as well as all of the other countries across the world and some of our global providers. Flow route, I will highlight, they include our 3CX SMB product, as well as our hosted by 3CX, as well as SMS. So that can be configured directly from the management console / admin console. SIP.US trunks as well, also included in our SMB and hosted by 3CX products. They can use the generic API for SMS if that needs to be configured. And then SIPTRUNK, that's a dedicated servers only. We're in the process of kind of negotiating what we're going to do. We've been discussing it. I won't say too much till we're ready to go to market with it, but we're trying to focus efforts on what the partnership looks like, trying to make it easier for the partners to get the most out of 3CX along with all the BCM1 products. So hopefully we'll find the right fit and make that where, again, you're going to go into 3CX, you're going to go into your management console, select from a drop-down menu the appropriate product from BCM1 that you want to configure. You're going to enter your SIP ID and password, enter your DID, and really you can start making calls in an instant. So that's part of the 3CX mantra I've already been describing: simplicity, efficiency. And I know that's definitely core of BCM1 as well, trying to take the difficult things and make them simple. So I can't reiterate enough how much we value working with these guys and the value they bring to the 3CX channel. I'm sure you're going to see a lot more developments in the future as we continue to roll out with a lot of joint efforts and kind of further our collaboration. So we're really happy with where we are, and we're really looking forward to the future together. And that's about all I've got on. These were kind of the highlights I wanted, and I think I'll turn it back over to you guys.
All right. Thank you, Greg. So we'll go ahead and open up the mic for Q&A. I know we have some questions in the chat room. We'll address those. But more importantly, as we were putting this webinar together, we did have several questions that were brought up, and we collected those, and we collected the top 5. And just to get the blood flowing, we'll go ahead and ask the questions on this open mic as far as to kick it off, and then we'll again ask everybody to unmute their mic. So first question is going to be the 3CX and SIPTRUNK dropdown. Greg, you want to tackle that one?
Yeah, so I was just looking through the Q&A questions that had already been posted, and I think Matt had already dropped in one about the BCM1 Next Vortex trunk, but it kind of goes along with this same thing. So Matt, I'll circle back with you on that one as well. As far as SIPTRUNK and the drop down, yeah, that's kind of what we're looking at, and that was what I was alluding to. As far as trying to find a product that everything can kind of be focused through with all the key features and functionality. You go into that management console, you go in and you select it, and it's in the drop down. At the moment, as I was mentioning, Flow Route and SIP US, and I'm assuming from that question, people are referring to our hosted by 3CX product, and also our SMB / 3CX free. Well, what we've done, we've got different levels, as you can see from our website and from that drop-down menu: preferred providers and then supported providers. You got to be one of those two to be included in our hosted products drop-down menu. If you want to go to self-hosted / dedicated servers, then you'll find that SIPTRUNK will be there. That's what we're working on, trying to move that functionality capability into SIPTRUNK to where they will be in that drop-down menu, hopefully in the near future. But that's something that's up to not me. That'll be up to our CEO and our interop team. But it is something that's open for discussion, and we're working on it right now.
Hey, Greg, I'll kind of chime in on that. your feedback there. One of the things also, folks, Greg mentioned, just is simplicity. If you think about where BCM1 has come from and where we're going, and we're not stopping, you'll probably hear more news, great news down the road. We want to really simplify it to one brand, because as we acquire new organizations, we want to keep the same flavor, the same opportunity for you guys to provision the same products and services, plus new opportunities with the new acquisition. So again, we're really trying to narrow it down and keep it real simple versus having 5 or 6 different flavors. If you look underneath the hood on BCM1, we carry 8 different types of SIP products and services, and we don't want you to go from one brand to the other. Ultimately, we want you guys to pick SIPTRUNK, and then it opens up opportunities for you guys to provision products and services a lot easier. Okay. All right, fantastic. I'll go to the next question here. Greg, me and you and Mitch can kind of chime in here. So support for 3CX and BCM1. Greg, if you want to talk about 3CX, and I'll chime in with BCM1.
I'm going to address it from a couple directions. One, I think that's partially Matt's question to whether, kind of the legacy, or I'm going to call it legacy. Maybe it's not for you guys, but the next Vortex side of things, BCM1 product. I don't know that we'll go back and add that one. I'm not the decision maker on that. That's really more of an executive level from our CEO. But I think what we're really trying to focus on is which platform brings the most value to the market. Where is it easier for partners to operate? What features and functionalities can be, and I know it's not necessarily a one size fits all, but we're trying to find the key one, because it's costly, it's time consuming for our technical team to go in. And I know you guys have a lot of products, and for us to try and maintain those and test them every time we have an update, every time we have a release. So that's why we're trying to simplify, find which one is going to ultimately work the best and provide the most value. And that's what we're going to kind of hang our hat on. So that's one side of it. As far as BCM1 overall as a company, yeah, we're stepping in and we're working very closely together. Anything that we've signed off on, we will go in and provide support. And when necessary, if it goes beyond us, then we can obviously get the support team for BCM1 involved. But it's definitely something that our team is actively involved in.
Thanks, Greg. So yeah, from the BCM1 perspective, we're looking at this holistically, meaning that we have a long relationship with 3CX, helping out with provisioning trunks, doing configuration help. So whether it's needing help on SIPTRUNK, which we have those expertise in our technical staff, to legacy Next Vortex BCM1 now, we have that capability. Also, at the same time, we do house former 3CX engineers on staff. So when push comes to shove, we have the resources to help out. But bar none, if you guys have gone through 3CX's partner training, are certified, those are the partners there that we see very little issues with. It's partners who hadn't gone through the training. So I would emphasize that if you haven't gone through the 3CX training and become certified, please do so. But at the end of the day, as you provision your trunks and you have common questions outside of things that we can't control, by all means, we can definitely help and support you. Okay. Now, startup terminology. I know this was a question that was brought up. Greg, you mentioned it earlier as far as talking about the hosting product. Can you kind of define where you guys are going and what they should be listening to when it comes to hosting?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I think it was November of last year, we had really kind of pushed out to market what we called 3CX Startup. And Startup was for lack of better terms, we called it MCM, which is multi-company mode. Most people in the industry refer to it as multi-tenant. And so we had basically created this startup product. And as we dove into it and really started commercializing it with this last update, we decided to change the terminology. So we basically did away with our previous 3CX free license key, which was a full 3CX PBX. It was a 4 simultaneous call standard license. And we changed it to this MCM or multi-tenant platform, calling it 3CX Startup Free. So just to simplify it, and so people would hopefully not be confused by the change in terminology, we're just calling it 3CX Free. So if you've got 10 users or less, and you want something that's it's not inexpensive, it's free. All you need to do is bring a SIPTRUNK, which good thing we're on this webinar, because you can use a couple of their products right now from the drop down and configure it to work with our 3CX free model. But it's super simple and easy to set up. Literally launch that in about 30 seconds, connect the SIPTRUNK, start making calls literally within just a handful of minutes. We took the commercial version of that product, which we had been calling 3CX Pro, and we changed the terminology to 3CX SMB, because that's really the market that we're trying to contend with this specific product. And so again, that's really simple terminology changes. We just want to clarify. And that 3CX SMB comes in 2 flavors. You've got a 10 user version and a up to 20 user version. You can have the same BCM1 SIP trunks there, SIP US and flow route. You can connect them, and then you can have multiple DIDs. You've got call queues, ring groups, IVRs. You've got a lot of great features and functionalities, but a very small price tag. So it's something that really will help you as a partner compete with the likes of Ring Central and Nextibia and Zoom Phone and some of these others that are targeting your really small installs with maybe limited features, but we're actually not limiting them so much. The SMB's got a lot of great features and functions, but doing it at a very, very cost-effective price tag.
Excellent. Thank you, Greg. Let's go to the next question. SMS version support on 18.8. I'll chime in real quick. So Greg mentioned if from a SIPTRUNK perspective, we do have the generic API tested, deployed. So by all means, if you need to utilize that, we have those capabilities available to you. But with regards to 18.8, I don't see any issues. Greg, you want to chime in? I mean, your folks have tested it out and hadn't seen any issues. Is that correct?
So far, we haven't had any issues pop up on that. And I'm sure as loud as our community is, if there was issues, they would have already been reaching out to our tech team or going in the forum. So haven't seen anything on that leads me to believe otherwise. So yeah, I'm going to assume at the moment, and I think rightfully so, that all is working fine there.
Okay, fantastic. All right, now general relationship. I'll kind of kick it off. You guys know that we've had a long-term relationship with 3CX. I myself used to work at 3CX, really value the relationship. We are fully dedicated from the e-commerce space to support 3CX and really grow the business. And that's where we're driving these open webinars for. But more importantly, again, we want to simplify things, because as we're acquiring new organizations and making some fantastic changes in BCM1, we want to make it very simplistic for you guys. We've actually, again, expanded a portfolio for you guys to make more money as dealers. So that's really exciting, and there's more to come. Greg, on your side, you want to address this?
Well, I fully agree with your comments there, Ben. Like I said, we've got a great, long-lasting relationship, and I'm sure it will continue on. And we're really now trying to solidify a much deeper dive, more collaboration, more functionality together with events like we're on today, some of the road shows and trade shows that we've been talking about jointly doing together. So I see things continuing to expand and improve both the offering from the 3.6 side as well as BCM1 together. So I think from a partner standpoint, things are just going to continue to get better and better.
Absolutely. Excellent. So Jess, we're going to go ahead and go to an open mic question. We do have, looks like 6 questions in the chat room. Do you want to rattle those off? And then Mitch, Greg, and I will kind of tackle those.
Yeah, so the first question is, when with SIPTRUNK will SMS be available in 3CX?
So it is available today through our open API, the generic API. So feel free to reach out to Mitch and team to start testing it out internally yourself, and then we'll bring you through the process. More importantly, SMS is very easy to provision, but the hiccup that most people will run into is that SMS is so regulated from a 10 DLC perspective. That is the roadblock in the provisioning process. We need to get that explained very clearly if you haven't done so, because it can be confusing. But once you've provisioned several 10 DLC opportunities, again, SMS through the generic API is very simple to deploy. Okay, next question, Jess.
Is T4 as a router, should it be T4XU?
It is the T4U. Yeah, I should have, instead of saying T4, I should have said T4U. So yeah, that's correct.
Okay.
And we should have our supported IP phones on that same comment. We will have that updated. Our marketing team right now, it's a huge holiday. I'm based in Cyprus at our headquarters. Everything here shuts down for the month of August, and all of our marketing team are out on holiday this past week. So I think probably in the next week or two, we should have all of that up to date, and it'll have all the models that include that functionality listed.
So the next question is, why is SIPTRUNK not a preferred provider in 3CX?
That's open for discussion. I wouldn't say that they're disqualified, but there was some reasons initially as to why we went with Flow Route along with their SMS capabilities. So I wouldn't say by any means that they're disqualified. It's actually up for discussion right now, and hopefully we'll be able to make some changes there in the very near future. But again, it's open discussion, and we're trying to find out what's a best fit for 3CX as well as BCM1 and our partner base. So again, I can't give you a hard, fast date on it, but I really do hope that we can see that happen later this year.
Yeah, so I'll jump in there. So good explanation, Greg. More importantly, folks, like I mentioned, right, we're really trying to consolidate our brands. And, you know, again, Flow Route jumped in very fast with 3CX to get certified, et cetera. We've been certified on trunks since day one, right? I mean, I think it's the important question is around SMS, which we've resolved. And then two, the hosting component. A good majority of the partners understand how to deploy and have no issues with it. So it's just basically semantics. But at the end of the day, it's all about consolidating to one brand. That's what we're trying to accomplish between the two organizations.
Yep.
The next question is, I'm already a BCM1 customer and have used 3CX in the past. I really want to be able to use the 3CX platform. How do I go about making this happen? Is there a path for me to be able to merge?
Mitch, you want to answer that?
Yeah, happy to set up a time on that. I'll give you my email privately to that attendee that asked that. But yeah, there's an opportunity to move from one platform to the other. They are separate networks. So it is still a port, but it's an internal port. But yeah, happy to have that discussion and see what works best there.
Yeah, more importantly, again, Mitch runs our dealer program, does a fantastic job, a ton of experience. So we can actually walk you through that process. And more importantly, just because you want to go from one brand to the next, don't feel like it's going to be any issues. We can do an internal port, but really keep tight with your account manager, channel manager, because as we roll out new opportunities, case in point, when we roll out Hyper Network on SIPTRUNK, folks do need to go through certification and understand how to deploy it and what the expectations are. And the only way you can do that is keep in contact with Mitch's team. Okay, Jess?
So the next question, is there an article on how to integrate the SMS API into 3CX?
Yes, correct. So there's a couple different flavors of SMS on our side. We do have KB articles. We do have videos. And a good majority of our support, quite honestly, we are putting out a lot of vidcast We will also do some, documents that you guys can read, but a lot of folks really like the vidcast. More importantly, I want to add here, that's real key that we rolled out that not a lot of people know about is our rate plans for SIPTRUNK include 10 DLC pass-throughs. So a good majority of what you guys have seen, if you guys are dealing with other organizations where you're doing SMS and 10 DLC, you may see a charge for SMS and then an additional charge for 10 DLC pass-throughs. We take care of a good majority of those and we bundle it into the SMS rate plan. And by the way, those are commissionable for dealers.
And then the last question in here is if we would need to migrate SIPTRUNK.com customers to FlowRoute in the future, what would that process look like?
Yeah, so a couple things to note. You can do that for whatever specific to, but understand that there isn't a dealer program in FlowRoute today like you would see on SIPTRUNK. So we want to be careful there because what we don't want to do is all of a sudden we get a phone call from you saying, "Where's my commission?" Right? So wanted to find. We do have a lot of folks that migrate for one reason or next. More importantly, if folks are saying, "Hey, I'm wholesaling, I take care of my taxes, remittance, and I have my own platform, and I deal with RevIO or DataGate or CSI," then fantastic. That could be one where you guys handle the billing directly. But more importantly, we want to make sure that you have all the boxes checked off if you are going to transition, but we will do an internal port. So not a problem. It's one that just making sure that, if you migrate over that, you understand that you'll miss maybe compensation and or other features and functions, but happy to actually have that conversation. We do that every day, whether, folks are going from SIPTRUNK to BCM1 or vice versa, or to FlowRoute and vice versa. So not a problem. Okay.
I think that brings us to the end of the questions so far. I don't know if we want to give everybody a minute to drop in any remaining questions.
What we'll do is while we're waiting for additional questions on the chat, I'll have Mitch go to the next steps as far as next webinar, logistics, et cetera. So Mitch, I'm going to go ahead and drop down. Oops. I'm sorry, Mitch. Talk about the team if you don't mind.
Yeah, no problem. So real quick, we'll send a follow-up email to everyone. Again, thanks for the time today. Any follow-up questions that you don't want to send in the chat, please reach out to one of the channel managers listed here. So going forward, you're going to have additional upfront sales resources to come to for any SIP related questions or messaging related questions. But you will see emails pouring in from Kevin, Jason, Ethan, and John. All very well trained on the SIP side of the house, from the SIPTRUNK platform to the BCM platform, and all the SIP platforms we have in-house. So look out for those. Set up a deep dive with them if you want to go into more detail with Ben or myself or anyone on the sales engineering side. But the other thing to note with this is John on here is fully focused on 3CX. So he only works with 3CX partners, being existing and new. So you may start seeing him more as well. We also have monthly meetings set up with Greg and his sales team and how we can kind of progress this relationship further from a sales perspective for the people on the front line. So really excited about this and the additional resources we're putting towards 3CX and partners like yourself. And then real quick, just the quick schedule for the upcoming webinars. As we mentioned, we're going to start doing these quarterly trainings. We're going to loop in some more technical aspects next time. So on October 11th at 10 a.m., we will do this again, go into more detail on some 3CX training. And then at the end of the year, we will do one early to mid-December just for a 2023 wrap up and a 2024 look ahead. But again, really excited to start carrying this webinar series into the end of this year and then 2024, just to help everyone get up to speed on the 3CX, the SIPTRUNK side, and keep going from there. And then lastly, again, I know there were a couple questions in there that we're going to do some deep dives on. Feel free to come to me or one of the channel managers listed that will also be sending out thank you emails and recap emails to yourself and your team. The other thing to note, based on where you're at in the country, let us know if we're out traveling at some of the events with 3CX. Would love to see you, or would love to have you drop in one of the offices over at BCM1 as well. So with that, I think we go ahead, Ben.
I'll add something really quick. So for the folks that are on this call, we have created a partner advisory council. Really, if you feel like, hey, you can bring some momentum to that discussion, we're really taking a look at, what our partners need in 2024 to become very successful, right? You guys have a lot of components, whether it's our trunks, 3CX as your phone system. But more importantly, we count on you folks to help us understand exactly what your customers are wanting and needing. So the next couple of sessions, we will have folks from our product management team to really listen in and deliver what our roadmap looks like. And more importantly, we'll also have folks from our sales and support and operations side of the house to truly understand, what other opportunities that we could do to either, number one, clean up a process, get things flowing a lot faster. We really want to make sure that we have a delightful, enjoyable process that we put you through as far as provisioning opportunities and trunks, et cetera. And we can only get better if we get feedback from you folks. So when you have an opportunity and your channel manager or account manager reaches out to you and you guys do a quarterly business review, please voice your opinion as far as if you want to join the partner advisory council. Okay, Jess, I think there's one more question in there, if you don't mind.
Yeah, no problem. Fanville phones are arriving with much higher firmware than 3CX requests. Cannot be downgraded. Any problems from this?
I'm assuming that one's for me, so I'll take that one. I have not heard of anything arising at the moment. As I said, our interrupt team is out right now, but that is definitely something I can circle back with on. I know that honestly, most of the major phone vendors that we support, there's been a wide variety of firmware issues lately. I know Yealink had some firmware issues as well, but Fanville, I was not aware of this one, but that's something I'd have to reach out and get some follow-up information on, because I'm not sure, but I have not personally heard of any issues arising from that.
Perfect. So Mitch, you want to go ahead and close it out?
Yeah, again, thanks everyone for jumping on. Look out for some follow-up emails and calls from myself and my team. And with that, you'll start seeing invites for October 11th over the next couple months here. So with that, we appreciate everyone's time and looking forward to continuing these with Greg and his team at 3CX.
Hey, Mitch, you do have one last notification there from Tim.
Yep, I got that.
Perfect. Excellent. Thank you. I didn't want to miss that. But folks, from myself, from my heart, again, definitely excited about the opportunity. I came from 3CX, really excited about that. And we want to make sure that not only do you guys have the best experience, but also the best tools from our partnership between BCM1 and 3CX. Greg, any last words from you before we end the call?
No, I would echo your sentiments there. I think that's the whole point here, is we're trying to keep things moving in the right direction, giving our partners and ultimately the customers the best possible experience, both with 3CX as a platform and all the various BCM1 tools and platforms that you guys have to offer. So trying to make things better and better, more cost effective, more simple to use, and easier to operate. So again, I think we're taking some nice steps in the right direction, and I think we got a lot of more great things to come.
Okay, folks. Thank you very much, Jess. We can go ahead and end the session, and we'll start sending recordings out once it's completed.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.